In this episode, a dramatic finish to the Indy 500. F1 was at Monaco. NASCAR had the Coke 600. And an unlikely addition to the WEC. Welcome to episode 222 of the We Are Auto Show. What's up, Derek?
Mr. McRell, have you ever been to a baseball game?
Yes, I have.
Have you ever parked in the outfield or in foul ball territory at a baseball game?
I have, and I've always been worried.
Oh, yes. You know where we're going.
I've been to like a Little League game, and I've seen a foul ball hit, and it goes, pink. Oh, boy, it's gone.
Right for cars.
Yeah. So I guess something like that kind of happened at the Indy 500, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Indy 500 this year.
Sure.
That was a very exciting race to watch.
Eventful is
Very.
how it could be called.
Very eventful. Not just for the racers, but also for a fan.
There was some shenanigans with the fan, but let's talk about the racing first, because there was some real good racing on track.
There was some really good racing on track. I would argue it was the best quality racing of the weekend.
Yes. And we'll talk about a lot of racing that happened this past weekend. But this one had some good strategy, give and take, and that's really what this track and series is known for.
Yep.
And these cars lend for really good draft racing into passes, and you kind of got to do a little bit of give and take and move around with the person that you're working with. It's fascinating to watch. It's very high speed, 230, 240, 250. I don't think they touched 250, but 240.
Yeah.
Which is insane. And with all that speed comes a lot of energy. And with all that energy comes crashes and situations that IndyCar doesn't ever want to see, but can still happen.
Yeah. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about the tire.
Okay.
Because there was a crash where a tire decided to exit a car.
Yes. Exit stage left.
Mm-hmm. And this is basically worst case scenario for IndyCar itself.
Yeah.
I know that these cars are built in a way where they're supposed to retain the tires on the car as much as possible. Mm-hmm. But with the energies that are happening at Indy, where cars are going 250, almost 250 miles an hour, it is extremely hard to keep the cars on, or to keep the tires on the car. Yeah. When you have open wheel cars like this and tires contact each other, there's a lot of energy that goes across the suspension in ways it's not designed to go.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a tire was ejected from the track and flew into someone's car and absolutely smashed it.
Yeah. So there was a collision, two drivers. They went tire to tire, popped one car up on on the driver's head, essentially, on its halo. And the tire that was contacted launched into the stratosphere.
Over the catch fencing.
Way over the catch fencing.
Into a parking lot, thank God, actually.
And that was my next point, is if you look at the picture where that tire is, if it came off 10 feet further in, that's killing someone.
Yeah. This is definitely worst case scenario. The other bad case scenario is a car gets airborne up into the catch fencing or up over the catch fencing. Not the first time it would be that IndyCar's had this problem.
Yeah.
I think in the 90s and in the 2000s, they've had spectators die at this track watching this race.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. And I know that these cars are designed to have tethers, some sort of like metal tether on the suspension itself to catch the tires from coming off. But there's just too much energy at this track.
Yeah, at 230 plus miles an hour, not much of a tether's going to do anything.
No, I will say IndyCar does need to solve this problem. This cannot happen again.
How can they solve it is the problem.
You have to engineer a solution. Either the suspension struts get heftier. You cannot let a wheel go into the stands. It is purely dangerous. It will kill someone. You put that mark on the Indy 500, and you will have a significant drop-off in the amount of fans that come and watch the race in general.
True.
It's a really bad look for Indy. It's an unfortunate, but a really bad look for Indy. I will say, this and the other ovals is probably the only situation that this could happen. So you can design the oval cars in a way different from the road cars.
Yeah.
Because at the St. Pete Grand Prix, this isn't happening. There's just not enough energy in the car to get the wheel flying the way
Yeah,
it did.
even your top speed at St. Pete is, what, 120, 130?
More than that, probably. But sure, 160. You're not going to get to the point where the wheel is going to be flying over the catch fencing. And the struts and the wiring that they have to hold this on now can sustain the 160, 170 crash.
Yeah.
It can't sustain 240, 250. There's just too much energy involved. So either they engineer a heftier solution or they slow the cars down. I don't think they're going to slow the cars down, to be honest, because they've only sped them up over the past few years.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to create a safer way to do this.
I agree. They will have to figure it out.
Yeah, and they've figured out stuff in the past. You see the Halo, right? That was implemented because of a crash and a perishing of a driver. So they will implement safety features on this car, no doubt. But this was a learning experience for them, a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I believe that the owner of the car was able to. You said they were able to kiss the bricks.
Yeah, as a token of I'm sorry. I guess it would be Mr. Roger Penske decided, hey, why don't you come kiss the bricks?
I'm sure they were compensated. I'm sure the damage will be fixed by IndyCar, the series, or a team, or something. I don't know how or what, but
yeah,
it not good. Very dangerous. Very lucky from IndyCar's point of view, and hopefully this never happens again.
Yeah, I agree. But there was, apart from that, there was just wonderful racing.
Yes.
I mean, there was drama all over the place. There was drama in pit road multiple times.
How do you crash in pit road?
I guess when it's just that much utter chaos, how do you not, I guess is a better question.
The weird way that people were crashing was doing the burnout out of the box, and they're just losing it.
They look like me in iRacing.
Yeah, it was messy. It was real messy.
Yeah, it wasn't tidy.
No. And it's kind of shocking because this is the month of May, right? Mm-hmm. Indy's always like, you're at the track for an entire month. You have 2 to 3 weeks of practice for this event, and you spin it on pit road? Really? Really?
How do you do that?
Wow. That's crazy.
It is a bit crazy, isn't it?
Yep. So who took down the win?
So the win went to Mr. Joseph Newgarden, which did it in spectacular fashion. I mean, a lot of the big crashes happened within the last 20 laps of the race. So they were, and I think they made a good call. They went red a couple of times within the last 10, 20 laps. So that way we're not finishing under yellow. But, I mean, the last lap of the race, within the last 2 corners, Joseph Newgarden was able to break the toe from Marcus Ericsson and go around him, and then was able to hold the win.
That's cool.
When we were watching this, you pointed out something kind of interesting. That after Joseph Newgarden passed Marcus Ericsson for the first place, as he was trying to break the toe from Ericsson, he kind of went really deep into the pit commit line. Mm-hmm. I didn't really catch that at first, but
I don't know the rule off the top of my head, but generally in motorsports, if you cross the pit commit line, is what they call it, you do have to come into pit road. Clearly, that's not a thing in Indy because I saw multiple drivers doing this across the entire race. But the amount of commitment that he went as far into the pit road was pretty extreme. And if you do have an incident, like you're doing 230 to 40 miles an hour, and you go into the beginning of the pit road wall, you die.
That's instantaneous death.
Yeah, you just die.
Yeah.
So I wonder if we'll have stronger suspension and a different rule on you can't cross that line next year.
Yeah, and I wonder if when it comes to the winner of this race, I wonder if there's any politics involved. Because you know what team won the race?
Let me guess. The same team that owns the track. The same team that owns the series. Yeah. Penske.
Well, maybe.
Yeah. Politics? I don't think so. He raced his butt off for that win.
I agree. I'm just stirring the shit pot a little bit here.
But
I agree. I don't think there's any shenanigans. I think it was just a good race.
I think so too.
I think it was really just a good race. Top 3 was Joseph Newgarden, P1, Marcus Ericsson, P2, Santino Ferrucci, P3. I got to admit, the celebration that Joseph Newgarden had, legendary.
Yeah.
He got out of the car, ran into the crowd, ran up 10 rows or something, and was celebrating with the crowd. And I'm sorry, that is freaking amazing.
That was super cool.
I love that so much.
Mm-hmm. That was super, super cool. Yep. This race did have it all. It had danger, craziness, awesome finish, red flags, good green flag racing. It kind of had everything.
It really did. And it even had a McLaren team boss that was present for this race, but not another race.
And who might that have been?
So, McLaren team principal for F1 is Mr. Zach Brown.
Right.
He was not at the F1 GP in Monaco. He was at the Indy 500 to support his Arrow McLaren team.
That honestly makes a lot of sense.
And that was my initial thought was like, wait a minute, why are you here and not in Monaco? Because Monaco is such a legendary race. But then when you actually think about it, the McLaren F1 car is a straight-up tractor.
It hasn't been good this season at all.
It's been so ungood that it can't honestly get much more ungood than it is now.
Yeah.
You might as well be in attendance of the place where you actually have a slight shot at winning.
Slight.
Slight. Yeah.
Because in F1, they really don't have a chance.
They have 0% chance of winning.
Speaking of F1 in Monaco, let's take a look at what happened there. Because this is a legendary race, as you were saying.
Yes.
And all of the finest come out at Monaco.
They do.
There was a yacht that had a Ferrari F40 on display.
I saw the pictures going around the internet that there's rich, and then there's another level of rich when you crane your F40 off of your yacht into Monaco for the GP.
Sheesh.
Now, that's a level of wealth that I don't think you or I will ever know.
No.
I'm not trying to put any hampers on you, but that is another level of wealth.
That's pretty wild. There's something about this race. The track, legendary in its own way. The racing, complete garbage, honestly. It's really bad. But F1 coming to Monaco is that what Monaco is known for?
Money.
Money in the F1 race.
Yes.
That's it.
And the casino.
Okay, true.
Casino Monte Carlo. Yeah.
True. Yep. That's a good point.
If you do go back one picture, I do want to point something out. Look at that Mercedes. What's different about it?
It does look a little different now, doesn't it?
Ooh.
They did bring some changes.
They did?
Yes.
The biggest ones are?
What did they change?
Side pods. They gave it side pods.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this goes back to when the F1 Drive to Survive was on Netflix, and Christian Horner comes out. If you have a problem, change your fucking car.
Mm-hmm.
And they did. They listened.
They did. They were going the no side pod route, or the very narrow side pod route. And now they've found out, after a lot of trial and a lot of error, that it didn't work. I'll give them that they tried. They tried. And it just didn't work out. So they changed it. Overall, the racing here, meh. But there was rain. There was rain at this event. And rain at this event was actually a ton of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Did you happen to see any of the ice skating that happened?
I only really saw highlights and like the last 10 minutes or so.
In that moment, that maybe 3-lap moment where the rain was coming down on one half the track but not the other, it was jolly exciting. Because they were just ice skating through that section up the hill. It's like the very first and second sector of this lap.
Okay.
And it was a ton of fun to watch. When they got to the hairpin, they were all like pitching it in, kind of drifting it around, figuring out how much steering do I need, how little do I need. It was a lot of fun to watch. And then they'd go into the tunnel where it's perfectly dry and come out and it's still perfectly dry. And then they'd finish the lap and then come back up the hill into the wet.
That's wonderful.
It was awesome to watch.
I do love that when you're watching a race and half the track's wet, half the track's dry. Mm-hmm. Figure it out, boys.
And then you got all the teams calling, do we go to inters? Do we go to full wets? What's it going to do for the rest of the race? Yep. Can we just stay on these tires because they're hot? Should we go to cold tires? Yep. It was actually exciting while the rain happened. Unfortunately, Mr. Max Verstappen started on pole and drove away from the field. That was kind of boring.
By a lot.
His teammate, Checo Perez, decided to crash the car in qualifying and then just struggle in this race.
Yeah, Checo finished. Where did he finish? P16. He was 2 laps back.
Yeah. Not only that, but Mr. Lance Stroll, who I believe finished last. Can you check me on that?
He was last, yes.
He was an absolute demo machine. He was running into people left and right.
I don't think he actually finished.
No, he DNF for sure.
Yeah,
that's because
he didn't do well.
He would have been disqualified in an iRacing event.
Oh!
He was smashing into people.
You can't do that.
No, especially in F1 cars.
So my question is, will he actually get points on his FIA license for this race, you think?
No, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't like he was purposefully punting people, but he was definitely making lunges and touching cars that he probably shouldn't have been doing.
Just not great.
Not great. I think he broke multiple front wings. It was messy. He was tapping side pods of other people. He wasn't like full-on punting people into the walls, but there were lots and lots of touches. And I don't know. Yeah. Interesting race. Verstappen did, I believe, take the win. Am I correct on that?
Yes, and he won with a gap of almost 28 seconds.
Yeah, it's kind of boring.
That's not even slightly close.
And then who was second?
Mr. Fernando Alonso, P2, baby.
The other Aston Martin.
Yeah. So
Not
you have
the Stroll car.
an Aston Martin P2 and an Aston Martin P2 0.
Yikes. And then you had a Red Bull P1 and a Red Bull 16th.
Yep.
Huh.
And then you had an Alpine P3.
Yeah.
Esteban Ocon
started P3, finished P3.
Yes.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
That's a great drive for that team.
Yeah, that's the best Alpine drive we've seen this season, isn't it?
I believe so.
The other Alpine actually finished within the points as well. P7 for Pierre Gasly.
That's
so big points weekend for Alpine.
Big points weekend. Other notables, where did McLaren finish?
They were in the points.
Okay.
P9, P10. Yeah.
Just in the points.
And I think that's because everyone else was just getting crashed out by Lance Stroll.
And how about those cars that just got side pods?
P4, P5.
Okay.
So an admirable finish for the new side pod.
I would say progress.
But I don't know if this is a track that a track and a weekend where we can actually see if those improvements are actually gonna really do anything.
No,
because you're not gonna get a lot of passing, right?
No.
When we get to a race like, I don't know, Silverstone, or I don't know, where do they go next? They go to the Spanish Grand Prix this weekend. So when they get to the Spanish GP, maybe we'll see a better improvement out of those side pods.
Yes.
We'll see.
I hope we do. I hope that Mercedes gets as fast as Red Bull. I hope somebody can touch Red Bull, because right now it's honestly kind of boring to watch Max out front.
I mean, he's just going to win. He's got 144 points. Checo Perez has 105 points, so he's 40 points over his teammate, and Alonso has 93 points. So he's 50 points ahead of Alonso.
That's a lot of points.
That's a lot of points. Yep. Hamilton is 69 points, so he's 80 points ahead of Hamilton.
You can only get 26 a race, so there's like a 2 race difference between first and third already, and we're not very far into the season.
Yeah.
Oi.
We got a lot of season left.
Yeah, that's a good thing, but it could be a bad thing. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We got the Spanish GP, Canadian GP, and then the Austrian GP all coming up in June. So
all right.
We've got some races to watch.
Looking forward to it. Now, let's talk about the other race that happened over here in the U.S. with the good old boys in the NASCAR, which was the Coke 600.
Woo!
This is at Charlotte, and I happened to be in the Carolinas this weekend, and it was terrible weather. Absolutely terrible.
So not a great weather weekend for NASCAR?
No, not at all. The first laps that they had on track were of the race on Monday. Oh. They didn't practice Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Didn't qualify. They just went in. As the points sat, that's how you qualified. We raced for Monday. It was that bad.
Well.
And I can tell you from experience, yeah, it was that bad. It was bad weather.
Well.
It was annoying. It was drizzly. It was rainy. It was cold. It was not good for NASCAR.
I guess great weekend to go travel to the Carolinas.
Tell me more. I know. Other than the weather, this race overall is a manage your tires and manage your car for a long time, because this is the Coke 600. They're going 600 miles as opposed to the Daytona 500 that goes 500 miles. And it's 400 laps at a 1.5 mile oval. It's a long time. It's a really long time.
How many hours does this race take?
4 to 5.
That's a long time.
And that's like with a good chunk of green flag racing.
That is a long
long time.
So this is the longest race of the season then, correct?
Longest race of the season. You basically sit in behind someone, manage your tires for 350 laps, put fresh tires on, and go for the win. That's pretty much how this race plays out. I will say, the track itself and the new cars do make for some interesting racing. Early in the tire stint, you can kind of almost be flat out through the whole track. Yeah. Late in the tire stint, you're really pedaling the car through the corners and almost braking in.
Lifting and sliding. And
maybe a dab of brakes to get the front to bite. But it's fun to watch. There were some big crashes. I know that Denny Hamlin specifically went into the barrier pretty hard, which was unfortunate for him. Kyle Busch had some stuff going on, but it's Kyle Busch. And then Jimmy Johnson was just the only one to crash in the first 100 laps, but he crashed like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, when we were watching the highlights, first highlight, Jimmy Johnson crash. Second highlight, Jimmy Johnson crash. Like, is he the only one crashing? What is going on?
I don't know. He used to be the GOAT. Now he's just losing it. It's kind of crazy. This was a solid race. From what I saw, I didn't see the whole thing. I was driving back from the Carolinas at that point. Solid race.
Yeah, it's from the highlights, looked solid.
Who took down the win?
P1, Ryan Blaney in a Ford.
Oh.
Then you had William Byron in a Chevy. Third place, you had Marty Truex Jr. in a Toyota. 3 different manufacturers, top 3.
This is at Charlotte. It was not the Roval layout, the road oval. But you could see the Roval layout was there, and I think that they come back to it later on in the season.
I was going to say, do they actually race the Roval?
Yeah.
They do? Okay.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
I love these cars on a road course.
Mm-hmm. And the variety of NASCAR, still the best out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Cool. So, last bit of news that I want to chat about is that we have some news that came out of a manufacturer called Hyundai.
Yeah.
Racing related.
Yeah, and that's not normally, this is not the episode we would talk about Hyundai.
No.
But apparently the rumor mill is kind of turned on. Hyundai is preparing to enter the WEC in a hypercar.
Whoa.
Okay, I'll take things I didn't see coming for 500, Alex.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, let's think about this brand, Hyundai. They have the Veloster.
Not anymore.
They used to.
They have the Kona N and the Elantra N.
The Elantra N is like their TCR car, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they race. And that's about it.
That's all the race. They have rallying. They're in the FIA World Rally Championship.
What are they racing in that?
I think they call it the I-20.
Oh, okay. So it's
a
not
European
even one of
car.
Okay, I see. I like that Hyundai is into motorsports more and more lately, which is really cool. But the WEC, the WEC, full hypercar?
Yeah.
We just went 0 to 1,000,000 real fast.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
No.
I really did not see that coming.
So let's think about the other manufacturers that are there.
You've got Porsche. You've got...
let's talk about the WEC, too. Just the WEC.
Yeah.
Right. Porsche, Ferrari, Peugeot. Who else?
Glickenhaus, Toyota.
Yep.
Did you say Ferrari? Cadillac.
Right. Maybe Acura. I think Acura's got a Le Mans run. Hyundai?
Did not see that coming. Van Wall by Collis.
Hyundai.
Again, Hyundai.
What?
That was the exact reaction that I think everyone in the motorsports world is having when we see this little article come up and go, Hyundai preparing WEC Hypercar program. What?
Hear me out. They went to Audi and they said, hey, you know that hypercar program you started? What if we just buy that off of you? And with that money, you go to the F1 side.
You know what? That is actually legitimately plausible. I did not think of that possibility, but that is actually plausible.
I haven't heard any rumors that that's actually what happened or anything. That's just my speculation.
You know what? Yes, it's a speculation, but just applying some simple logic, that actually makes sense.
Possibly. Now, Hyundai and Audi are not brand linked in any way. They're completely different companies, completely different countries, like way different.
Fair.
They make different classes of cars even. But
very much so.
I don't know. Why would Hyundai get into the hypercar class is another question. Like, is this really the marketing path that they should go?
I mean, I don't really know, because Hyundai Motorsports, like, team boss, his name is Cyril Abitpool. He used to be the team principal of the Renault F1 team.
Right.
So he's, I don't know.
You would expect Formula E, F1, more TCR stuff, GT4 maybe, even a GT3 car before you got to the point where...
Especially when you've got that new Hyundai Envision 74 hydrogen thing that's kind of a performance car, right?
This is the last thing I thought.
Yeah, this is way out of left field here.
I could have seen them getting into F1 alongside Audi or something like that, or alongside Porsche, or the WEC in a hypercar program is not what I saw coming. Not at all. This was the furthest away from what I saw coming.
Yeah, I have no idea where, why, how, what, who, when, where. I think all of us are just a bit flabbergasted by this news.
I'm happy to see it.
Me too.
Happy.
I mean, the more the merrier. Let's welcome everyone into hypercar. I want to see what's going on. And they haven't officially stated if they're going to go LMDH or hypercar, so Le Mans Daytona Hybrid, or just the actual LMH Le Mans Hypercar. But that's kind of irrelevant at the moment.
Yep.
Right. But, I mean, they're shooting for a medium term, quote unquote, I guess, timeline.
Okay.
So medium term, was that like 3 to 5 years?
I don't know, but I'm getting to the point where I'm worried about the Le Mans car counts. Because
as in GT car counts?
No, in top class car.
Oh.
Because Porsche's creating a factory team that'll bring 2 cars. Porsche then has four customer teams, like 3 customer teams.
In the WEC right now is only 1.
Yes, you're right. Okay.
You got Jota, the Jota Hertz car.
Right. I can see another one coming, so that's 4 Porsches.
Okay.
Yeah. 2 Cadillacs, 2 Acuras, 2 Ferraris, 2 Peugeots. 2
Peugeots, 1 right. Glickenhaus, 2 Toyotas.
Van Wall.
1.
We're
BMW is not, but they might come in next year.
Lamborghini
is not, but maybe next year.
Yep.
There's a lot of top class cars.
Yeah. And if any of the other manufacturers branch out into what Porsche's doing, where they do the like, hey, yeah, you can race our factory kind of cars, the customer racing side, we're going to be at like 20, 25 cars in the top class.
Is that a bad thing?
Yes.
Why?
Yes. You can't have too many in one class.
Well, yes.
That's going to be the problem.
It's going to eliminate P2.
It would, yeah. But I think you should have P2.
I agree.
I don't want to see P2 go away, to be honest. I like P2. And they've already gotten crunched a little bit on their car count, which is unfortunate for them.
Yeah, I mean, or is this going to say they're just going to create a whole new series of hypercars?
It's not the same.
I agree.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. But is it going to cause them to have to do a hypercar-only race series?
I don't know what the answer is here. Maybe you just bump the car counts for Le Mans. The track's long enough. It can handle the 100-car field.
Ridiculously long.
It could. Should it? I don't think the pit lane can handle that. I think that's the limiting factor.
True.
At the moment. I don't know. We'll see. Bring it on. More hypercars sounds better.
It sounds better. Let's see what reality has to say about it.
True.
So that's all the news I got. There are some upcoming races. This weekend we've got the F1 Spanish Grand Prix. NASCAR is at Gateway, and then I think you're racing this weekend, aren't you?
I'll be doing the Le Mans Major on iRacing, which is going to be a really cool event where we could get safety cars. There's going to be like full qualifying. It's not an official iRacing event, but it's like hosted by a community, and I'll be streaming it. I'll put the link down in the description if you want to watch it.
That'll be sick.
Good
luck.
Yep.
All right, that's all I got for episode 222. Got anything else?
Nope.
It's going to wrap us up. Thanks so much for watching and listening. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, leave a thumbs up, and drop a comment on the video. Let us know, what do you think about the Indy 500 and the whole tire into the stands debacle? Be curious to know your thoughts there. If you're listening on audio only, send us those thoughts via social. Facebook is We Are Auto. Instagram is We Are Auto _. YouTube is We Are Auto, and our website is weareauto.io, where you can go to catch some of your favorite past races. So, thanks again. Catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.